All right, I'm here with my new friends David and Will. David with Dealer DMV and Will with Proctor Dealerships in sunny Tallahassee, Florida. We are not in Tallahassee right now, though. It's a long way from Tallahassee, actually.
908 miles to be exact.
Oh, did you walk it?
I walked to the airplane.
Okay. From your front door?
Yeah. To the car, to the airport, to the airplane. But it was a good ways away. I had to park way out.
That's fantastic. So today we're going to not talk about airplanes in Tallahassee, although they're part of the story because we're in a different state than Florida. And the pain created through selling vehicles from state to state. I'm very familiar with this because I live in New York. And I have dealer friends all over the country, so I tend to buy vehicles from out of state all the time when I buy them. And it seems like very rarely is it a smooth transaction. And there's always questions on where is everything, New York's a little bit tougher, so I happen to live in the tougher state to register things in. So there's always confusion. However, that's a growing challenge in the industry because a lot more people buying cars out of state, shipping cars out of state. So I would love to talk about some of the pains there. What is available now for dealers so they can actually not have that be such a pain, or be able to have someone take care of it for them so they can get back to taking care of their primary role, which is serving customers on the front line. Will, do you sell a lot of cars out of state?
We do. Roughly 10% of everything we sell is out of state.
Okay, so a significant amount.
Yeah, we're in a college town. Florida State University. So there's a lot of out-of-town co-signers. There's a lot of people that are there just for school that are going to register at their permanent address. We also have a lot of snowbirds that come down. And people think of Florida. And what do you think of when you think of Florida?
Palm trees.
Sun,
Disney.
beautiful beaches.
Yes.
We're in northern Florida. We have pine trees, we have mosquitoes, we have alligators.
Oh, great combo.
But geographically, we're right there by Georgia, right there by Alabama. So just normal pulling business across the state lines is a big thing for us as well.
Yeah, and so 10% of your vehicles, what have you done in the past? Like, what was the worst way you used to do it? Tell me that. Tell me all the worst ways you tried.
Way back when, before there was this thing called the internet, you would pick up a phone and you would say to the person on the other end of the phone who worked at a DMV or a county office,
which was attached to a wall.
Yeah,
the phone was attached to a wall.
We had these really cool ones that you could walk 50 feet away with.
High tech.
And we would call up there and say, hey, this is what I've got. What information do I need from the customer? How do I need to do it? And unfortunately, you're usually talking to someone that's lowest hourly paid, and they tell you need this, this, and this. And we'd collect the this, and this, and then we'd send the customer on the way, and then we'd call them back a month later and say, by the way, we also need this. Get that. Title work would be there, and then we would get all the title work back. Said, thank you very much for this, this, and this, but you also needed this.
And did we forget to mention?
And then we would call the customer and say, hey, here's your second temporary tag. We're very sorry about that. And then we'd say to the bank, we're very sorry we don't have a title for you. And then we'd write down notes. And now we know how to handle Houston County of this particular state in this particular city, which was great, right until they changed it. And if you look at...
And you didn't find out till you sold the next one there.
Right. New York has how many different counties?
A lot.
Now, Florida has about 50 different counties.
There's probably about that many in New York, actually.
And using Alabama, they have about the same. But you also have property taxes, you have city taxes, you have county taxes, and you have a state tax. And it all varies. And it can get very, very messy, but you can't afford to just ignore that market segment. I mean, we spend all this money from a dealership level making sure that our digital footprint is larger than our geographical footprint. And that's where we go. I mean, look right now. What's the big buzzword in cars right now? It's tariffs. So, and when the tariffs came out, it really constricted supply. And it'll free back up, but that's where we sit. If you're going and looking for a car right now, do you care about the tariffs? Or do you want the particular one you want even more now because of the tariffs?
Right.
So instead of looking in the 50-mile range, you might bring that out to 250 or 500 miles. So I have a real opportunity now to do more business across state lines, and I have a real problem getting that done. At least I did until this gentleman showed up.
Introduce David.
Right.
David walked into your life. Smoke came through the door as he opened it. And then you said, are you vaping in our bathroom? Right. So, David, Dealer DMV has really come into the market strong. And I noticed a lot of dealers are starting to use the product for these reasons. Tell us a little bit about the synthesis of the company and why right now it's a very relevant time.
Right. So our company was founded back in 2016.
Say just a little bit closer to your mic.
We're we're an e-titling company, and we had solutions for dealers to title and register vehicles that they sell to customers right in their backyard. And over time, our dealers were just asking us, hey, what we really need is a solution for all of these other transactions across the country. Those are a real bear for us, right? So we worked with a lot of dealers like the Proctor Dealerships, where Will is at, getting their feedback, understanding, what's difficult, why are the current solutions not measuring up? And that was how we built Dealer 50. We really just listened to dealers and built what they wanted. We are a software company, so we build all of our products in-house. And we're also a very customer service focused company that puts our RAMs, as we call them, our regional managers in dealerships, boots on the ground at all of our dealerships. So we have an advantage in that we can listen directly to what dealers want.
That's
and then
amazing. A
build
software company with boots on the ground.
Yes.
That's a very unique thing.
Yes.
Because usually a software company is so far separated from an end user that there's just so much back and forth, or there's a lot of static, between what actually happens. Like in the engineer's mind, this is what should logically happen. Usually we'd agree with that.
Right.
But we don't live in a logical world, nor do we work in a logical industry, especially
Right.
when we come to 50 counties worth of DMVs per state, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
Right. Yeah. Title and registration is sometimes looked at as a commoditized industry.
Absolutely.
And it's that customer service, that in-person, expertise and help that we provide dealers that really separates us from the others.
It's one of those things where it's not a problem until it's a major problem, right?
Yeah.
Not just until it is, but until someone is, because there are legal implications, insurance implications, tax
Right.
implications. I'm getting pulled over and my family's in the car implications. I had an instance where I was having a lot of trouble getting the paperwork finished, the registration finished, and the only real solution to that was try to get temp tags in time, but is why don't you drive around with all of your deal paperwork in your glove box in case you have to get to explaining, which personally it's I don't want all my personal information in my glove box.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyway, and certainly don't like the idea of having to explain to an officer, and I double certainly don't like the idea of my wife being the one driving the car, getting pulled over, and now having to explain via deal paperwork.
My kids would call that being sus.
Yeah,
right?
super sus. Yeah, right. It's very good.
Could
Right.
we even go skibbity on that one?
You could.
Skibbity is still for me a hard to understand term. I mean, my kids explain it to me over and over, but I'm that's fine, and I just agree to just not know and not care.
Ready for that one to become old. So.
We're getting close. It's moving fast these days, but I think sus has a runway. Actually, if you say sus around your kids now, they're probably just in that way of you're so weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
They think that anyway.
But
That's true. Good point.
everything that you outlined there is just a miserable CSI experience for the customer.
Right, that comes
So-
back on every piece of the transaction.
Right. So our product is focused on streamlining the title and registration process on any out-of-state deal from end to end. And really, the end goal is to try to yield a better experience for the consumer, right? We're big on transparency and urgency. So we want to get those titles and tags issued quickly, and we want to do it in a way that everyone's on the same page. The dealer is, very in control of the data and being able to communicate proper expectations with the customer and getting their tag out to them quickly.
So, Will, tell me a little bit about how the workflow works now. I'm an out-of-state buyer.
I'm going to have to actually correct him on something he just said on his own company. He said they wanted an excellent experienced customer service. I don't think they looked at it that way. I think they looked at it as excellent customer experience to us, the dealership, which led to an excellent customer experience for our consumer. Because the UX that they have is amazing. I mean, we all gear our websites to be 3 clicks, the customer gets what they want, otherwise we lose them.
Wow, what a great benchmark. Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is. That was the Amazon benchmark. That's what we all try to use. And, and then we throw Gates in there, but that's another conversation. But the software that Dealer 50 has is literally 3 clicks. The information's in your CRM. You push the information from the CRM directly into the Dealer 50 program. It's all right there. You verify it, and you press a button at the bottom. When you've pressed the button at the bottom, you not only get all of the fees laid out, you get this really cool thing called FastFax. So if I am helping you buy that car in New York, I'm going to get the FastFax sheets that says, you might need this proof of residence. The insurance has to show this. He's got this amount of time before he has to get car inspected. If he is traveling in Florida right now and he's not planning to be back up there in 30 days, you may have a problem. Does he have the title for the vehicle he's trading in? And if not, these are the things you need to check. It's the information's prevalent, it's quick, and it's right there. So you made a phone call to the dealership because you found this that you wanted. You were coming down to see a Florida State football game. You figured what a great time to buy another car. In real time, my finance and sales managers can give you a quote that has everything on it. We have never been able to do that before.
Wow.
We could either get real information with a delay, or we could get partial information very quickly. But until this, we've been able to get the pertinent, full information real time.
So you have this, you click, you push it from the CRM, press the next button, you get your FastFax. Then what happens from there?
All right, so I go back into the CRM and I configure my pencil.
Yep.
So I can see now, let's just take, for instance, Texas. I got a great story about Texas. So let's, for instance, in Texas, I have this beautiful pencil prepared. I'm going to lease an MDX to someone in Texas. They have ties to Tallahassee, Florida, but I'm going to lease them an MDX. I prepare the pencil. In Florida, leases are taxed on the payment. $600 payment, $42 worth of tax, payment $642, $1,000 down, good to go, not a problem. We run it through the Dealer 50 program. We desk the deal in there, we go back, and we find out through the FastFax that in Texas, leases are taxed on the entirety of the car.
At that point of sale.
Front. So now instead of $42 per payment, I've got $4,200 worth of sales tax. And my payments just went from $642 to $790. But I found it out real time before I gave the pencil back to the customer.
Oh, can you imagine that? Well, I can. I think we all can imagine how that would go.
How does that conversation go?
Yes.
But it's when I say how quickly can you do this, once you're a fairly pertinent user on it, 3 to 5 minutes total. And then you have the FastFax, you have the pencil, you have everything, and they back it up. If their system made a mistake, I get to call him, and I get to say, hey, I collected $42 per payment because your system told me to. Now I got to pay $4,200 to the state of Texas. And if it's his system that did it,
they take care of it.
I'm made right.
All right, we only have a minute or two left, but I would love to talk about what install and implementation looks like, because I think that's the question on every system. What's it going to take? Is it going to mess my flow up? What does install and implementation look like?
Absolutely. Well, again, in person, right? We can implement online and web-based, but it's just so much easier, and dealers prefer.
I would say dealer.
Person,
I'm sure
right?
99.9% of dealers would say yes. Have your person here because they have a throat and I could choke it.
Right. Well, and we don't expect your business to stop as a dealer, right? So we're coming in there. We're going to try to knock out the training in as little as, I'd say, 30 to 45 minutes for a lot of the users. Title clerks will get training for as much as they need, but within a day, we're done. We're there for a second day just to follow up. In the car business, someone's always off, right? They miss the training. So, but in person is the way to do it.
Well, does that track?
Yeah, one step further. We tend to look for partnerships, not vendors. And the way we internally define a partnership is any product you use is going to have some type of speed bump you have to overcome. But if the service provided produces a speed bump smaller than the problem it fixed, it's a partnership. So, and it really went like, I was amazed. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. We were up and running on the program within 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
The training didn't take any longer than 30 minutes. No, the flow is literally like that. And what I had to do for the setups was, yes, we're ready to go. Okay, great. Fill out this half-page form, and we were just done. It was a little staggering. Really cool point. We just switched DMSs. Raise your hand if you love switching DMSs.
No one. No hands in the room.
I made a phone call to Dealer 50 that said, I'm switching DMSs. That was all I had to do. We went live on the new DMS, and the integrations were already there.
Amazing. Well, Will, David, thank you so much for giving some time today. Thank you for working so hard to fix and a really serious part and a growingly serious part of the consumer experience, because that reflects back on all of us. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your hard work, and let's keep doing it.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I wish we had another 30 seconds so I could tell you about some of the other parts that we have learned after the fact, but maybe come look for me later and I'll tell you, because there's some really cool parts.
That's perfect setup for a next conversation, I think.
Awesome.
Thank you, Paul.